welcome to episode 269 of our Khmer Time Cross Talk Show. In our office today, we have Miss Nellie GHUSAYNI. Thank you, Miss. Can I call you Nellie?
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you, Nellie, for coming on our show, and we're glad to have you here. So Nellie, she the chief of International Organization of Migration, IOM, of Cambodia. And of course, we are here to discuss this topic. Usually it has been 3 months now since the tension between Cambodia and Thailand has been there, existed. We saw that within this period, we see a number of migrant workers, Cambodian migrant workers to be specific, have been coming back to Cambodia. And, you know, it's not like, I think we have like 1 million coming in so far. So we want to discuss this topic, you know, because I believe I think it's, personally, I believe it's both an opportunity and a challenge for Cambodia. So what do you think about this, you know, like mass return of migrant workers to the kingdoms?
Yeah, well, I'm very happy to be here with you today at the Khmer Times. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about migration at such a pivotal point in Cambodia. Migration has always been central to Cambodia's development. And migration is not a new topic in Cambodia. Migrants have over decades and decades supported their families, contributed to their communities, and contributed to the development of the country. So this is a very timely conversation that we are having today. The scale of the return migration that we have witnessed recently is the largest scale we have seen in decades. It's over 800,000, close to 1 million, returning migrants from Thailand. In any country in the world, a mass return of this magnitude puts a lot of challenges on the migrants themselves, who did not plan to come back in advance and who did not have the time to plan, right?
Yeah.
But also on the countries of origin that receive them, so on their own countries. But we should not forget at this time that these are the same migrants that have for decades and decades before supported the country. And so they are not a burden.
Yes.
They are Cambodians who are back home. And as you have said, this might come with some challenges, but it also comes with a lot of opportunities.
Yes. You know, like, okay, a million people suddenly come back. You know, some of them are, according to the Ministry of Interior, I think about 700,000 of them are workers, like the one who are have been based in Thailand for a while, and then now they have to come back and voluntary, I believe. So, what are the humanitarian needs, you know, that we can provide for them, that the Cambodian government, the stakeholder, including IOM, could provide for them? What do they need right now?
Yeah. So the migrants, like every other person, when they find themselves in a situation of an emergency where they have to move suddenly, they are not prepared. And when they come in such large groups to Cambodia, their first needs when they first started coming were the most common needs. People wanted to go home safely. They wanted to be reunited with their families, right? Those were their first immediate priorities. And of course, they wanted to be able to provide for their families, because when they came, their income, they lost their jobs or their income got disrupted. They did not all of them were able to come with their savings, and some of them were not paid their full wages. So their first needs were really about going back home, finding safe shelter for them and their families, and then having a source of income so that they can provide for themselves, their families, and especially those that are in debt, so that they can also cover their debt. At the same time, it's important to remember that they have a lot of other psychosocial needs. Moving in such a way is incredibly stressful for people. People were scared, they were uncertain, and as you said, some of them have been away for a while, so when they come back, they have to figure out again how to be members of their family in a new way, what are the new roles they have to take, you know, how do they reconnect with their communities. So these are all the needs that we collectively, whether it is IOM or the UN at large, but under the leadership and with the leadership of the royal government of Cambodia and civil society actors and others we should be addressing.
Yes. Well, they are coming right now. It's not like okay, you come in, we will talk to you later. No, something has to be done immediately in order to have all these immigrants. I've been there. I've been to the border, and I saw government officer, volunteers, social workers helping all these Cambodian migrant workers coming back. How about IOM? What have been in place that that you contribute to this cause?
Yeah. First, let me acknowledge the response of the royal government of Cambodia. And let me note first that this is not the first mass return that the Cambodian government or the Cambodian people have dealt with. This might be the largest in many years, but in 2020, after the COVID-19 pandemic, more than 250,000 migrants came back. In 2014, when there was political turmoil as well in Thailand, more than 250,000 migrants came back. So Cambodia has experience in managing mass migration movements, and we saw that in this response. Cambodia's experience was demonstrated by the proactivity of the government, by the interventions that were put in place quite quickly. So this is very important to note, that there was a lot of experience and capacity that is demonstrated. Now, no one expected this size of return, right? This magnitude. So of course it comes. Exactly. So of course it comes with challenges, right? To everyone, to the migrants and to their communities. So as IOM, our work is based on the principles of whole of government and whole of society. So since the beginning of the crisis and even before, we have been working very closely, hand in hand, with a number of line ministries, from the Ministry of Interior to the Ministry of Labor to the Ministry of Social Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, across the board, not only at the national level, but also at the provincial level and at the local level, to provide humanitarian assistance. So our teams were at the border in Poi Phet, standing with the teams of the Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training, receiving migrants, providing counseling to them. Similarly, we continue to work with the Ministry of Labor and partners on job fairs to assist them in finding jobs, outreach for skills development opportunities, mental health and psychosocial support, in addition to humanitarian assistance for both returning migrants and displaced population in the form of support for shelter, support for essential supplies that they might need, and things like that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I always remember this phrase, teach you a person fish, he will be full for a day. Teach him how to fish, he will be full for the rest of his life. We have the humanitarian immediate needs is there. They are there, helping them immediate needs. But how about the long term? How do you imagine? How do you expect this? I mean, of course, obviously, Cambodian economy is smaller, much smaller than Thailand. How do you, estimate how the economy absorbs all these returning migrant workers into the labor markets?
Let me start by saying that what migrants need is not only jobs, right? Reintegration is not only about finding a job. What migrants are looking at right now is rebuilding a life. So reintegration is complex. Finding jobs is incredibly important because people need a source of income, right? And we have seen that the government has put a lot of effort so far in connecting people to jobs and job opportunities. But I want to make sure that we also don't forget the other elements of reintegration, the social elements and the emotional elements. Reintegration is about access to health services, access to schools and education, right? Access to social protection systems. This is what sustainable reintegration looks like. Someone is back and reintegrated in their community when they have the economic means to be independent, right? When they have social stability, when they have belonging in their community, when they know how to move around, when they feel accepted again in their community. These things are challenging for returning migrants, right?
Yes.
And when they have the ability to manage their stress and their anxiety and they feel emotionally well. So as we look into the future of what reintegration looks like for returning migrants, it's very important that we think of these three dimensions together, because this is not the first return movement and it will not be the last. This will happen again. It is the nature of life.
Yeah. It could be you mentioned other principle like integration. I almost forgot this. I mean, you need more than just food and shelter and clothes. I mean, in this modern society, you have to go beyond Maslow, you know. And but I mean, I visited the border. I saw some young children. Some of them do not even speak Khmer. I mean, they have been in Thailand for like since they were born. And at the same time, I saw like old, elder people. I mean, like people who are like, very, you know, people in their 40, 50. They have been working in Thailand and suddenly they come back. I imagine I can think that. I can see that it will be hard for them to find jobs. Literally harder, much harder.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the vulnerable group? I mean, the children who like have to, you know, they are going to school. They were going to school in Thailand and suddenly they have to come back to Cambodia. Those who cannot find jobs, disabled people, women.
It's very good that you mentioned that, and thank you for mentioning the differences between people, because sometimes when we talk about migrants or return migrants, we speak about them as if they are all one group.
Yes.
And they have the same needs and the same situation. But this is not true, right? Every migrant is a person, and they have a story, and they have families, and they have communities, right? And they have experiences that are different from the other. And a person who is 45 years old, who maybe has been in Thailand for 20 years, is going to have a very different return experience than maybe a seasonal worker who goes normally for, you know, during the agricultural season and then comes back. Very different experience. A woman with children, a family that has had children who have gone to school in Thailand, maybe they only speak Khmer, are going to have a very different return experience in Cambodia, right? Than someone maybe who is working there and his family is here. What we know is that the migration experience is very gendered. Women experience migration differently than men for many reasons. For example, in Thailand, women and many other countries, women receive lower wages than men. They are more vulnerable. They don't get the same types of contracts or benefits as men do, and they are more susceptible and they are more at risk for exploitation, for gender-based violence, and things like that. Children at the same time, very often people forget to talk about children, and thank you for bringing that up, because again, children's experience is very different, and it's affected by multiple factors. They could be children who are in Thailand, right? If they were born there, if they've been there for many years, their friends are there, the community they know is there. They might not have visited Cambodia before, right? But also there are the children of the migrants who have been working in Thailand who are here, the children who were left behind. And now they are going to be reconnected with their families, but it's also going to change their lives. So it's really important that we look at these groups, also people with disabilities who often have less access to essential services. They have a lot of barriers. And other groups like LGBTQ people of minorities, and others. It's really important that we don't forget them when we're talking about migrants in general.
True. So I cannot help being sad, you know, thinking about, I mean, as a Cambodian as well, but as a journalist, I have to stay objective. At the same time, it's good you mentioned that Cambodia faced this problem before, facing the problem now, and in the future, maybe again. So, what is a long-term adaptation strategy that the country should implement in order to, you know, deal with this, as the country is wanting to become the bigger economy in the future, graduation from LDC in 2030 and stuff. So
this is why I started by saying this could be a turning point for Cambodia. Cambodia is at a crossroads, and how Cambodia manages this challenge will shape the future of the country. Because migration has always been a cornerstone of the development of Cambodia. It has always been a driver, contributing to up to 8% of the GDP, right? And so migration will continue. globally, as we have seen, driven by labor shortages in some countries, aging populations, and also as the Cambodian population, that is a very young population, becomes more educated, has more access, right? They would want to have better access to opportunities. So we have to be very clear. Migration is in our DNA as people. It will always happen. How do we manage this? And what we do now will dictate what the next wave, what the next crisis is going to look like. Because crises will always happen. That's the reality. And political crises, pandemics, economic crises will always influence how people move. So what do we need to do? If I can sum it up, there's a lot, but I would say 3 things. Number 1, Cambodia is a champion country for a global agreement called the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Dignified Migration. This is the first internationally negotiated agreement between member states in the world that looks at migration across all the spectrum in every single aspect. Cambodia is a champion country. So Cambodia has the opportunity to continue to lead in this area, in the region, in ASEAN, but also globally by advancing the implementation of the Global Compact for Migration. So putting migration at the center of the development conversation right now to make sure that the country can continue leveraging migration for prosperity and for growth and for development. This shouldn't make us look back, right, or restrict. This is an opportunity to benefit. So advancing the implementation of the Global Compact for Migration, ensuring proper support and comprehensive support for returning migrants, social, economic, psychosocial, and then really also looking at migration-related data and tracking information. As one of the challenges that we have seen in this crisis is really understanding how many people were in Thailand, where are they now, what are their needs. So investing in migration systems is what we need right now to make sure that we are prepared for the next crisis, but also that migration continues to serve Cambodia's long-term vision.
True. As I imagine. So it may be a long journey. I cannot imagine we can do that in the next 2 or 6 months or something. It's going to be a long journey. So IOM, again, back to your organization. How is IOM planning to help Cambodia on this journey?
That's a very good question. So IOM is here to serve, we are here to serve our member states, to support them in advancing and improving and strengthening migration governance. So we do that by providing technical assistance directly, using a whole of government approach, as I have mentioned, working with different ministries to integrate migration into their policies and plans. We know this is going to happen, we can forecast, we understand how people move. So how do we integrate this, right, at all levels? At the same time, IOM continues to work with government to strengthen systems related to data collection, to border management and border security, to countering trafficking, to labor migration and reintegration of migrants. So we do that through a range of things, from technical assistance to support and direct service delivery, and most importantly, by working with migrant communities and with mobile communities themselves.
It's a good interview so far.
You look surprised.
Yes. No, it's not. How long have you been in Cambodia, by the way?
I've been in Cambodia for a little bit over a year. So I just had my 1-year anniversary last month.
Oh, nice. And how long have you been working for IOM? Do you want to be specific?
For IOM specifically, I've been working for 7 years.
Okay.
Yes.
So have you ever experienced something like this?
Yeah.
In working in your years working in this sector, have you experienced something as major, as massive as this?
Yeah, we have seen a lot of mass movements of different types. I usually, before coming to Cambodia, I used to work in countries that have humanitarian crises, so conflicts, wars, or natural disasters. So Cambodia is, I would say, the first time I witnessed such a mass movement in a very in a country that's very much in its on this trajectory of development. So I am familiar with similar movements in other settings. But this one was particularly, I would say, particularly interesting.
So, what are the lessons you are learning or expecting to be learning in this scenario?
I think it's important. The first lesson is that crises will happen, and we need to be prepared.
I mean, crisis is spices also word for some reason. They are there.
Right? It's easy sometimes to forget.
Yeah.
Right? But then when a crisis happens, we remember that maybe we had the same conversation during COVID or somewhere else,
Yeah.
right? So for me, it's about the fact that crises will happen, and we need to invest. We need to be prepared. We need to strengthen our systems. And the second lesson for me, which is very important, especially in situations like this, is not to forget that these are the same migrants who have been assets, who have been contributing to the country for all of these years, and that we should not see them as a burden. And this is very important because it is normal. Mass return movements create a pressure on countries, and they create a pressure on people, right?
Yeah.
And it's very easy in some cases to start talking about, migration or the migrants as a burden to the economy or the country. So it is very important for us to make sure that we remember, right? And for me, really, in Cambodia's context specifically, I know everyone says, every crisis there's an opportunity.
Yes.
But I think in Cambodia's case specifically when it comes to migration, because Cambodia's journey and evolution has been really interesting. Historically, it was a country of origin. But we have seen in recent years, Cambodia become a country of destination. So we have seen in recent years an increasing number of migrant workers who are choosing to come and work in Cambodia, right? So Cambodia is no longer a country of origin. Cambodia now is a transit country and a destination country. With Cambodia's young population, with Cambodia's very quick development trajectory, Cambodia could become at the heart of the regional migration movements and migration flow. So what's important is that we step up and we invest into the future.
Thank you. Yeah, you said it. We just launched our new airport, so I think that oh, okay.
It's a wonderful airport, by the way.
I have not been there yet.
You did not visit?
Not yet. I will be there.
Are you the
weeks.
only person in Phnom Penh who did not visit the airport yet?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I think that's it for my question. But last but not least, I would like you to look at our audience and speak what you like to speak. Address them, speak whatever you want, please.
Cambodian people have been resilient and are resilient and have demonstrated resilience through many, many crises. And migration is in the DNA of Cambodian people. From the days that, Cambodians have moved along the Mekong River to establish settlements along the river in fertile lands, to throughout history, Cambodian migrants have contributed significantly to the country, not only through their remittances, not only through their money, but through their skills and through what they have brought to their communities. I would say for all Cambodians, we understand and acknowledge that this is an incredibly difficult period that the country is going through. But also, if we know and we have seen how resilient and how strong Cambodian people are, and this is something that if we can come together from our side as the UN, with the communities, with the government and the leadership of the government, we really can turn this around in a way that serves the future of the country.
Thank you so much, Nellie. I mean, we are honored to have you here on our show. Thank you so much. So that's it, folks. That's it for our interview for today. And I think we talk about a lot of things, but we know one thing for sure: the crisis is always here with us. So each and every one of us has to prepare for it. It's part of our DNA. So is migration. So let's work hard together. Let's do our own part and contribute to this so that we can get through it. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for watching. I'm going to see you next week. For now, sign off and goodbye.